Snezhinsk was a ghost on maps. In 1962, the Ural Mountains hid it. Soviet architects prioritized natural rock shielding. High-density granite absorbed radiation leaks effectively. The site remained invisible from high-altitude flights. Sector 20 expansion started here precisely. Engineers utilized local terrain for thermal camouflage. Massive ventilation shafts mimicked natural rock formations. Every entrance required triple-layered steel doors. Secrecy was the primary structural material. Security perimeters extended 20 kilometers outward. No civilian footprints crossed these restricted zones. Guards patrolled the perimeter with chemical sensors. The ministry demanded total atmospheric isolation. Atmospheric pressure stayed constant inside bunkers. Deep excavations reached 30 meters below surface. Geologists mapped every fault line before pouring. Reinforced concrete reinforced the Soviet nuclear dream. This was not a civilian settlement. It was a weapon in architectural form. Cold War tensions fueled the drilling speed. Thousands worked under absolute silence protocols. Names were replaced by numerical designations. Snezhinsk expanded while the world ignored it. Precision was the only accepted currency here. The mountain became a hollowed fortress. Underground railway systems connected the various sectors. Logistics moved through lightless granite tunnels. At 56 degrees north, beneath the frozen crust of the Urals, Snezhinsk breathes. This is not a city of people, but a city of systems. Every vibration you feel in the floor is a calculated pulse of the 1962 expansion. Notice the ventilation louvers, massive steel lungs exhaling the heat of deep earth industry. There is no waste in this movement. Even the silence is pressurized. As we descend the primary elevator shaft, the surface world dissolves into a memory of wind and snow. Here, the neutral auditor observes a masterpiece of autonomous logic. Thousands of technicians move like silent electrons through copper-lined arteries. They don't walk. They flow within the machine. The heartbeat of the USSR's secret heart is steady, cold, and absolute. Welcome to the pulse of the invisible. The 1962 blueprints reveal extreme structural redundancy. Reinforced concrete shells measured 4 meters thick. Each sector functioned as an independent unit. Hydroelectric cooling loops circulated through granite veins. Heat exchangers maintained stable core temperatures constantly. The expansion added 12 new laboratory wings. Sector B7 housed the primary assembly halls. Giant overhead cranes moved 5-ton lead canisters. Precision optics monitored the plutonium core alignment. Manual levers controlled the heavy water flow. Analog sensors tracked every microröntgen of leakage. Failure was mathematically calculated and then mitigated. Thick leaded glass separated scientists from isotopes. Air filtration used multi-stage charcoal scrubbing systems. Oxygen levels were regulated by mechanical bellows. No digital interfaces existed in this era. Everything functioned through gears and high-pressure steam. Brass valves controlled the primary cooling manifolds. Welds underwent rigorous ultrasonic testing during construction. Structural integrity surpassed all civilian building standards. Seismic dampeners protected the reactor from vibrations. Floor plates utilized anti-static industrial rubber coatings. Lighting remained dim to conserve emergency power. Every corridor followed a strict hexagonal geometry. This design prevented rapid pressure wave propagation. Explosion risks dictated the entire floor plan. Safety was a byproduct of structural engineering. Depth is the ultimate armor. We are crossing the 400-meter threshold, where the weight of the mountain becomes a structural asset. The geometry here is brutalist, carved with industrial diamonds and refined by thermal stress. Look at the arches. They aren't just holding back millions of tons of rock. They are framing the future of physics. In these sectors, space is a premium, utilized down to the last millimeter for high-voltage bus bars and cooling manifolds. The air smells of ozone and hydraulic fluid. It is a sterile, electric atmosphere where the only light comes from mercury vapor lamps and the glow of vacuum tubes. Every corridor is a data stream, every vault a vault of secrets. The architecture doesn't house life. it contains power. This is the anatomy of a fortress that the sun will never see. Logic in 1962 relied on physical triggers. Mechanical relays replaced modern silicon-based processors. The ignition sequence required 3 manual keys. Timing mechanisms used jeweled movements for accuracy. No software existed to fail or glitch. Hardwired circuits defined the operational safety limits. Every command traveled through shielded copper cables. Voltage regulators prevented surges from Ural power lines. Pneumatic tubes transported small samples between labs. Feedback loops were entirely analog and visible. Technicians monitored circular gauges with red needles. Pressure thresholds triggered automatic steam release valves. Gravity-fed cooling served as the final failsafe. Magnetic tapes recorded the experimental data streams. Calculation required massive mechanical adding machines. Every variable was checked by 2 independent teams. Redundancy was the core of Soviet logic. If one circuit failed, 3 others activated. The system favored stability over rapid execution speeds. Electromechanical switches clicked in a rhythmic sequence. Power distribution utilized massive oil-filled transformers. Grounding rods reached deep into the bedrock. This was the peak of analog control. Human intervention remained the final decision point. No autonomous protocols were authorized for ignition. The Auditor notes 0 logic failures here. Behold the kinetic symphony of logistics. Nothing in Snezhinsk is static. Thousands of lead-shielded canisters glide through the ceiling rails, a constant parade of isotopes moving toward their final destination. The grand logistics intersection is where the city's true scale reveals itself. A multi-level ballet of electric locomotives and automated trolleys. There are no traffic lights, only the rhythmic logic of the mechanical signal towers. The heat from the primary casting halls creates a shimmering haze, a visual reminder of the raw energy being forged into steel casings. Water from subterranean rivers is harnessed, filtered, and pushed through the city's veins to keep the heat of the reactors at bay. It is a closed-loop civilization, a perpetual motion machine fueled by the ambition of 1962. Every gear turns for the sake of the core. By late 1962, the primary goals shifted. Khrushchev ordered a pivot toward tactical refinement. The massive expansion projects reached sudden completion. Some sectors were sealed with high-grade lead. Political priorities moved toward intercontinental ballistic range. Snezhinsk transitioned from construction to active refining. The secret city became a permanent laboratory. Many underground wings were mothballed for decades. Maintenance crews replaced the large construction battalions. Documentation was archived in deep climate-controlled vaults. Some mechanical systems remained operational until 1990. The secrecy protocols never truly expired, however. Today, the facility remains a restricted zone. The 1962 expansion is now a relic. Technical audits reveal minor oxidation on valves. The granite walls show no structural cracks. It stands as a silent technical monument. Soviet engineering survived the Union it served. Most original blueprints are still highly classified. Radiation levels in Sector 20 remain baseline. The mountain has reclaimed the external scars. Internally, the steel remains cold and waiting. History lives in these pressurized concrete halls. The Auditor concludes the structural integrity holds. We have reached the zenith, the Cathedral of Assembly. This is where the physics of the atom meets the precision of the watchmaker. The air here is thin, ionized by the static of high-voltage Marx generators. You are looking at the 50 megaton yield, a device of such terrifying beauty that it requires its own ecosystem to exist. The robotic manipulators move with a grace that defies their hydraulic weight, interlocking silver-plated components with a tolerance of microns. This is the peak of the 1962 expansion, the moment where the city fulfills its dark purpose. The needles on the synchronized dials pulse in unison, a collective heartbeat before the silence. Every bolt tightened, every vacuum seal tested, is a testament to a technical perfection that exists beyond morality. The core is ready. The peak is reached. Final metrics confirm the 1962 expansion success. Total volume excavated exceeded 2 million tons. Concrete consumption peaked in the third quarter. The facility reached operational status in November. No recorded fatalities occurred during the core installation. Strategic objectives for warhead miniaturization were met. Snezhinsk proved the viability of hidden cities. The structural footprint remains visible only to satellites. Thermal signatures are suppressed by modern cooling tech. This audit confirms the 1962 expansion data. Physical evidence aligns with the declassified reports. The audit concludes. The final signatures are stamped on lead-lined reports, and the lights in the archive begin to dim. Observe the transition. The city is not dying. It is entering a state of permanent persistence. The massive ventilation louvers on the surface close, blending into the rock until the mountain looks undisturbed. Below, the reactors shift to a deep blue dormancy. The coordinates are being redacted from the maps, the names erased from the ledgers. Snezhinsk becomes a ghost in the granite, a technical legend muzzled by the snow. As the master safety interlocks slide into place, we leave behind a world that functions perfectly in total darkness. The 1962 expansion is sealed, mended, and hidden from time. The Auditor exits. The mountain remains. Silence is the final output of the machine.